Hello, this is Giant Tank 1400, and this is All Grown Up Season 1 review. That's right, we did the first 13 episodes of the series, and now we're on the Season 1 review. Sorry about the wait. All I'm going to say about it is just family emergency. I'm not going to talk anything more about it because you guys don't want to hear that anyway. So on the screen here, you can see my personal rating for each episode of the season, from episode 1 all the way down to episode 13. Now, on the bottom there, if I can fit it, I'm not sure if I can fit it yet, is my season 1 score based on each episode's results. Meaning I basically added up all the episodes divided by the number of episodes, which is 13. And we got 8.23, which rounds down to an 8 out of 10. Now, this might be my season 1 rating overall, but it probably won't be. And the reason is I'm not rating each individual episode. I'm rating the season as a whole and how well it did with characters, with transitions, with animation, all these different factors I'm going to be talking about right here. So the first thing I want to talk about is really the first episode, the first couple episodes. Now, when a show like All Grown Up is introduced, you kind of want to get introduced to all the characters, or at least like the main character, and have a plot focused around him, and have all the other characters kind of have their side plots. You want to get to know all the characters basically. Now in episode 1, Coupe de Ville, I gave this episode a 4 out of 10, by the way, for bad writing and for other reasons. However, one of the reasons is that it was the first episode, and Kimmy, Susie, and Angelica, 3 of the 8 main characters of this series, are not even in it at all. And if we look at the main character, Tommy, he has like a side role with a side plot. This doesn't make any sense. Now, Tommy, at least in this season, and I think in the whole series, he's the main character overall. He had so many episodes this season where he was just a star, but it just was not this first episode. And on top of that, the fact that Kimmy, Angelica, and Susie were not even in this episode is just... You don't even see those characters. You want to get introduced to them. And Kimmy not being in the... I mentioned this in the first episode. It was like, it doesn't really involve around Angelica or Susie, so it's kind of okay that they're not in the episode. So Kimmy not being in that last scene where everyone's watching Phil and Lil and their adventures at Twin Canyon, now that just doesn't make any sense to me. Why isn't Kimmy in this episode? However, we'll get to see this, talk about this a little more later. And the next episode, we really get to focus on Susie, and to be fair, everyone is in this episode, but we don't really get to see that much of like Dill, Phil, Lil, Tommy even. It's just this episode. So the first 2 episodes don't really display all the characters as well as they should. However, Susie Singing the Blues is a great episode, so... But maybe have that maybe further down the line in the episodes, and maybe put the episode Truth or Consequences as number 1. Truth or Consequences was a great episode. It was 10 out of 10. And it displayed all the characters in some shape or form. Every character got just a little bit of character development, and we focused around Tommy, who's the star of the series. That episode would have been perfect for the first episode. You know, it would have got the audience introduced to all the characters, all the main ones, and if it got the audience more focused on the main character, Tommy. So I just thought maybe episode 5 should have been episode 1, and kind of redo episode 1, the Coupe de Ville episode, and I don't know. It just seemed like that's just kind of my complaints. First of all, about like the first couple episodes. So on really to the characters. Like I said, this series is based on Tommy, and let's see if I can get to my notes here about Tommy. Oh yeah, he had great character development. He had almost too much at times. Now, Tommy and Dill had like similar plots in Teenage Cartoons, Thief Encounter, Brother Can You Spare the Time, and Tommy Foolery. Now, 2 or 3 episodes similar like that, illustrating the brotherly bond they share, Tommy and Dill, would have been fine. However, having 4 and having 2 episodes that are extremely similar, and those 2 episodes were Tommy Foolery and Teenage Cartoons. Now, if I'm going to get back to the list here. If you go back to the list, Teenage Tycoons got a 6 out of 10. Really bad score. And I'll talk more about that later, a little bit later. However, I would like to just remove that episode. There was no reason for the head of the episode. The episode that was really similar to was Tommy Foolery, which was a 7 out of 10. It was a little bit better. I personally thought it was a lot better. However, Teenage Tycoon should have just replaced it with a Kimmy-based episode, basically. So, Dill got some character development, great character development there. Now, Kimmy, on the other hand, got 0 character development. Even in the episode Bad Kimmy, or I should say very little. Even in the episode Bad Kimmy, where she's based on, Chucky was the main focus of that plot. She was just a catalyst for that plot. I mentioned it there. Episode was pretty good. It got 8 out of 10. However, it was still like it should have been a Kimmy base. There should have been 1 Kimmy based episode in the season. How hard is that to ask? Now, on to some good points about the season. Some characters that did a little bit better were Chucky. He had his fair share of episodes. He had some good side plots overall. Really good character development, and you get to see in the last episode of the season, Lucky 13, it displayed his character perfectly about why he wouldn't want to go, because it's like he's a social awkward character, and it's a social situation. I thought that was great. Tommy Foolery and Teenage Tycoons didn't display his character really good. I don't think he's the type that would be mean to Dill like that. And I mentioned that in those episodes, but that was one reason why. Those are a couple episodes that Chucky's character really wasn't displayed that good. But overall, he did great. Susie, she had one really great episode where it focused on her, and even the parts where she played like side characters and stuff like that, she did great. I liked her in Susie Singing the Blues. That was the episode she was focused on. Great character development for her in that episode. That episode alone, she didn't have to have another side plot based on her, just because that episode was so great for her character development. And we get to see in Lucky 13 how she supported Angelica, and they got that sisterly rivalry going on that I mentioned. You get to see more of the sisterly bond there that they share. Now, Angelica. Overall in the season, we didn't really get to see much of her. Truth or Consequences, we got to see a little bit of her, and here and there, sprinkled in Teenage Tycoons and a few other episodes, but we didn't get to really see a lot of her until the last episode. And I get where they were going with this. They wanted to save her for the last episode, Lucky 13, her 13th birthday and everything. It's a very important episode that's focusing on Angelica. But it's almost like they did the reverse of Susie. They had Susie's episode 2 or episode 1, depending on what source you go to, but I'm going to say episode 2, and Angelica's episode 13, the last episode of the season. So kind of got to see like a mirror of those two. I get where they were going with that. However, I would have liked to see Angelica's character established earlier in the season, of her being mean, and in this episode her actually being nice a little bit once she gets to see that Tommy and his friends did for her, and once she got to see that Harold and Susie are her close friends. So I thought that was good. And we'll get to see later on in the series Angelica's character develop further. She is one of the most developed characters in the series, and I think it was really good. I think her and Chucky go through like the most up and downs with character arch. Every other character's not necessarily static. They definitely have their character developed throughout the series, but however, I don't think anyone compares to Angelica and Chucky's character. However, more on that in the series review, because we didn't get to see Chucky's character development that much in this season. Now, whose character left? Oh, Phil and Lil. I think I mentioned everyone else. I mentioned Kimmy, Chucky. Okay, so Phil first. Funny character. I said it before and I'll say it again. Phil and Dill are the funniest characters in the series, and just having them have one-liners and just having them in there as comic relief is just great. They're just two very funny characters, and they just make the show better. Just every scene they're in, it just improves the show. They're just great. They're just funny characters. Phil, we got to see a little bit of him in Cult de Ville. However, we didn't really get to see that much of change in his character. However, it was really good to see him. Now, Lil. Kimmy and Lil are the two most underdeveloped characters in this season, with Kimmy being the most underdeveloped. Lil, it was like they had Lil, and they didn't know what to do with her character. And they will continually not know what to do with her character until season 3. I don't know what episode it is, but it's called The Big Score, where she learns that she's very talented at soccer. Unfortunately, we don't get to see much of Lil being actually Lil until then. Right now, we get to see her being OCD about stuff here and there, kind of a little bit uptight. The only good thing about her character so far is that she will stick up for her brother no matter what, even though those two do bicker. So that's it. Kimmy, we get to see even less. I don't even know nothing about Kimmy at this point. Absolutely nothing. I can't think of anything I know about her. So those are two downs for the episode. Just a waste of two characters. Luckily, next season we do get to see a little bit of Kimmy. She has one episode, Ministering Finsters. It's called something like that. We'll talk about more when we get to that. Now on to the transitions, which this one was a poor one, by the way. So I think the transitions were overall great. I personally did not like the overuse of, well, I'm just going to show you on the screen. You know, it has the different boxes, and I did look. I don't know if they recycle any of them, but they are different from time to time, at least, because I did look on two of them in the same episode, and each picture was different, which is a plus in their favor. At first, I thought it wasn't. I would like maybe a change in the shape or a different transition than that, because I think they overuse this too much. However, a good point in their transition, they will take a place like the Java Lava or the cafeteria, those two places that happen the most, and they'll have like characters in the background of what's going to happen next, or it like in the same room, you get to see them to the side or something like that, and they're focused on like that plot, the one plot, and they focus on like Tommy's plot and shift over to Angelica's plot or like Betty's plot or whatever. And they just do that really great. And even sometimes when the location changes, I mentioned in Susie Sings the Blues, was that Chucky had a paper in his hand, or it was Tommy, I can't remember which, and it zoomed into Susie and the one fake producer girl, the scam artist, and those two shaking their hands and handing over the paper. I just think they do a really good job with the transitions overall. A little bit less of all the squares, but other than that, they do a great job. Now the animation is poor for this entire series. Now they do have their good moments with animation, like in episode 1, Cope de Ville, where Chucky's hanging from the pipes and water's going everywhere. An episode that I think they do great with the animation is River Rats, with the whole nature theme. I think they do a great job with drawing all the nature and stuff like that. It's just some of the character models, you get to see Chucky's face kind of expand a little bit outward, and it just looks awkward. And the background a lot of times is just very plain, undetailed. And the characters themselves could be improved. Animation is just overall bad. It has some good moments. However, the focus of the series, I know, is based on characters and relationships, which is why I focus so much time on that. There are some good points in the animation, though, here and there. So I know it's just a show that's not supposed to have great animation, but it could have better, I believe. And it does show that with certain episodes like River Rats and certain scenes. One thing I think they do a great job in is the ambient noise, the background noise is actually done very well. And some of the background animation, they have kids walking in the background, I think is done very well. So they do a pretty good job with the transitions and the background noise. Not much to say else about that. And that's basically it. I think I went through everything I had to go through. This is going to be a long episode, but of course it is a season review. So on to my rating. Now, on the screen again, I'm going to show you guys all the episodes and my rating overall. So like I said at the beginning of the episode, the season got an 8.23, or rounded down to an 8 out of 10. Now, for the reasons I've mentioned about the structure of the whole season and how Teenage Tycoon should not be in there at all, I'm going to give the season, I really did love this season, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Now, that's lower than what all the episodes average out for, and the reason for that is the lack of character development of Kimmy and Lil, and basically Teenage Tycoon not being there, and the first episode should have been Truth or Consequences. Now, for the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mention my favorite episode. So I thought about it, and my favorite episode is either Truth or Consequences or River Rats. I'm going to go with River Rats just because the animation was better and I like nature personally. They both got a score of 10 out of 10. They're both great episodes. They're definitely top 2 episodes for me this season. I just liked River Rats more. They both did a great job with the morals and stuff like that. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this season did a great job of morals overall. About average, I would say. I forgot to mention that. But River Rats, just great episode. I really like that dilemma, that focusing on Tommy, and you get to see Betty and Chaz there. I forgot to mention those 2 characters too. There's very funny characters. I really like them. They're kind of like, in different ways, they're like Dill and Phil. So it was great to see those 2 characters in River Rats. Truth or Consequences is still a great episode. Like I said, it should have been episode 1, and that would have got like the fans really excited about the whole series and everything. But they get like this. Cope de Ville is that. I'm gonna get to that in a sec. So my next thing is my least favorite episode. Now the lowest rating episode is Cope de Ville, episode 1. However, that's my second least favorite episode. My least favorite episode is actually Teenage Tycoons. Now, why Teenage Tycoons got a little bit better was for reasons I mentioned before about it shouldn't have been the first episode, and for also just really bad writing and really bad writing. Teenage Tycoons got a little bit better because of the whole Dill side plot. Well, actually, the main plot, and the whole thing that the writing was a little bit better. However, my least favorite episode this season is Teenage Tycoons, just because I personally did not enjoy the episode at all. I enjoyed Cult of Ville better, and not by much, but I enjoyed it a little better. So that this review has gone on long enough. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. See you guys. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye.